Welcome to Data, Dollars, and Dynasty, the podcast where data meets destiny. 3 voices, 1 mission, using data to build a dynasty. Next.
But if anything I want to say to Gen Zers, AI is going to complicate things for you. AI is your competitor. And believe me, AI don't sleep. AI don't care about work-life balance. So it's just a different day for you guys.
Plus,
as far as the American dream, it's going to require my generation to put in a little bit more work compared to the older generations as far as how much work they had to put in.
also,
The sentiment of college is changing. It used to be seen as a one-way ticket to success. The choice to get a college degree isn't really that luring to many young people.
now welcoming your hosts, Jeremy Sr., JJ, and Jayden.
Welcome to the 9th episode of Data, Dollars, Dynasty. I'm your host, Jeremy Williams Sr. I'm joined by my co-hosts and sons, JJ Williams
Welcome back, everybody.
and Jayden Williams.
Yes, sir. Always a pleasure.
And today we have some exciting guests. We've been working with these guys for about 8 weeks now. They are a part of our Datagen Scholar program. They are on the team of Datagen Scholar program as what we call officers. And we discussed probably about 3-4 podcasts ago about what those officers meant to our program. We're excited to have these officers here. I'm gonna let JJ introduce them and have them say a couple words about themselves.
Yeah. So jumping right in, everybody. Our first guest is Sam. Sam, you go ahead and say a few things about yourself.
My name is Ayobami Samuel. I'm a senior at Milford Mill Academy, and I want to major in electrical engineering. My goal is to work for the Air Force, and the goals that I have for the future are to work for an aerospace company. The reason I joined this program was because college wasn't going to teach me the software development part about it, and AI is going to be really big, so I wanted to get a head start on it.
By the way, everybody, Sam, he loves us so much. Sam was with us episode 6. So 3 episodes later, he's back. But Sam, tell everybody where you're from again.
Maryland.
Got you. All right, moving on. The next guest we have is actually Joel. So Joel, go ahead and tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
Hi, nice to meet you guys. My name is Joe Gojella, and I'm a rising senior at Alexander State High School from Alexander, Virginia. I joined this program because I'm more interested in learning more about the use of AI and how it's an impact on modern day, since it has been increasing growth to the economy in the school environment and the work environment. And I want to major around the business and technology field in CS.
Perfect. All right, and then next we have Parth. So Parth, go ahead and tell the audience a little bit about yourself as well.
Yeah, so hi, I'm Parth. I'm a rising senior at Rockridge High School in Ashburn, Virginia. And I'm planning on majoring in computer science with a concentration in machine learning in college. And I joined this program because I know that AI has been getting so big recently, and most people just think of it as a buzzword. But I really wanted to get to know the potential effects of AI and how I can use it for my everyday life.
Definitely. Pranjali, could you go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience?
Hi, my name is Pranjali, and I go to Briarwoods High School in Ashburn, and I'm really interested in cybersecurity and technology as a whole. Thank you.
And then last but not least, we have Reshmitha. So Reshmitha, go ahead and do the same. Let the audience know a little bit about yourself as well.
Yes, my pleasure. My name is Reshmitha Rajgopal. I'm a rising senior from Rockridge High School as well, and I live in Ashburn, Virginia. I wanted to join this program because I know we've all been listening to AI in all shapes and forms throughout. And I wanted to not just use AI, but also learn about it and have a head start in the world that is being modeled by AI recently, and especially in the coming years as well. So that's why I want to join this program. I want to pursue an engineering degree after high school.
Perfect. Well, all right, that's our guest.
Yeah, so thank you guys for hopping on with us middle of the week, giving us some time out your day. And Again, I also want to second that to say I thank you guys for also working with us in this program. Just for our audience, again, the Datagen Scholar program is a 12-month learn and earn program, essentially where students are learning about data analytics and generative AI. And we have incorporated into that program some modules on AI ethics. We got career readiness in there. And the students are also exposed to different ways to take their knowledge and monetize it via what we call micro job. It's our ambition that every student that comes through the program gets exposed to, most importantly, data analytics and AI, but that they fully understand how to leverage AI and get ready for jobs of tomorrow. And essentially for us, that tomorrow is very ambiguous. Like, go out there on the airways, you see all types of stories about jobs not being available for youth, particularly those after college and high school, or just the tightness of the job market. We're hearing that some jobs are going to be gone, right? So I think the opportunity for students to learn about how to think about jobs, how to think about what's going to be available, how to think about what their steps should be after high school is what our program is about. And we are excited to have these young students on with us today. As you can hear, they're all interested in tech, which I certainly advocate for. But we also love the fact that a lot of our students are entrepreneurial at heart, meaning that they are exploratory, they're curious, and they're eager to learn. And so for today's podcast, how we're going to manage this is we found about 6 or 7 different articles. Typically, we cover about 2 or 3 articles, and we try to shed some light on those articles, and we track some data from those articles, and we use that data to highlight or accentuate a point or 2 that we want to convey to the audience. What we're going to do here today is we're going to take some of these articles and let the students talk about the articles, and then I'll give some color on the background of those articles after the students talking. And I think Jayden, you guys want to hop in on some of these articles too. I'd love for you guys to get some commentary too. Parth, let's talk about that Gen Lazy article that you found.
Yeah, so I think it was talking about how my generation is kind of like challenging traditional work norms from like older generations, and they're prioritizing their well-being. And I guess it can seem like laziness from the older generations because they're not working as hard. But in reality, like the new generation is just like prioritizing their mental health and other things outside of work.
Mm-hmm. So this is what you guys are doing these days? Talk about that a little bit. Now, you say prioritizing your mental health.
Yeah, so that could just mean if someone's trying to work for a promotion, my generation might think it's enough to do the bare minimum. But older generations are more used to putting in a lot more effort to get, let's say, that promotion. But prioritizing the mental health for a Gen Z person would mean, I don't know, not working as hard. It might seem like that, but in reality, they're just taking more time off and having more mental health days for themselves.
Okay, so can somebody shed some light on this? I mean, all you guys, I believe, are Gen Zers, right?
Yeah.
So I expect everybody should have something to say about this now. I didn't necessarily read this article as thoroughly as I probably should have, but are you saying to me that Gen Zers are essentially not in favor of working overtime or working excessively to accomplish a task? Are you saying that they prefer to prioritize health over like work sacrifice? Are you saying that? Is that something that all of you guys feel is effective of the Gen Z crowd, or is that just something that the article is speaking to? As individuals, how do you see you get that desired job and the opportunity is in front of you? How do you see your role in making certain that you do absolutely the best in that role? How do you see that?
I'm gonna let Parth answer first, and then I'll piggyback off that.
Yeah, so I think like for myself personally, I don't really relate too much with what the article was saying. I would still be fine with putting in extra work to, let's say, get another job or to get that promotion. But I think I do understand their perspective of the article. Like what it's trying to say is that more people these days are prioritizing other things other than their work.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. Well, I want to just kind of go more in depth with the article. So, first off, the title to this article is Gen Lazy, Why My Generation Doesn't Care About Work. It basically goes in and it says a few data points. It says only 1 in 10 Gen Zers want to work from the office full time. All right. So, CEOs say that they are less likely to have ever worked overtime, less likely to have checked work emails while out of office, and more likely to be late. They are a workplace nightmare. They are more entitled when it comes to promotions and are less likely to work hard to deserve those promotions. Basically, the Gen Zers are feeling hopeless with the shifting job market and also feeling trapped by the economy. They feel like they're less likely to ever own anything. We discuss that all the time. The future is not going to be where you can own things. It's going to be leasing, renting. More people are going with that. They're renting stuff. They only focus on their essentials, clothes,
we just
food.
talked about that.
Exactly. So they want to do the bare minimum because they feel like, okay, I can't own a home anyway. Older generations, they were able to do the same amount of work that I do, but they were able to afford
So
families.
basically what you're saying is this, all right, without going into too much detail in this article, you're saying that when they look at the quote unquote American dream, it's cloudy for them. So
It's unattainable.
yeah. So I'm not gonna say back in the day, but older generations, when they went to school, they came out of school, they chose service, they chose college. They knew what that finish line was. They could see a house, they could see vacations, they could see kids, they could see cars, they could see whatever they saw. They can envision that. We talk about manifestation, about being able to visualize something. So in order for something to manifest in your life, you have to be able to visualize it repeatedly. So I guess the argument that the Gen Zers is making is that that's no longer something they can visualize. So because they can't visualize that end of the journey where they see a car, they see a house, they see a family, they see the dogs, the cats, the vacations, they're less apt to be committed and dedicated. That's what you're saying they're saying.
Exactly.
Yeah, I want to hop in too, but before I do hop in, I know Joe and Reshmitha, they wanted to say something as well. So did you guys want to go ahead and hop in real quick before I cover what I was going to say?
Chime in.
All right. So, in my opinion, I completely understand how Gen Z is. They want to prioritize their mental health, spend time with family, and try not to get stressed out, work at a 9-to-5 job the rest of their life. I guess they like staying at home more often, like learning skills online, like entrepreneurship or trade. So a lot of stuff you can do online to be successful. Some people, they prefer working online, I guess, because they don't want to drive far away to their job and waste money like gas and cars and stuff. And in my opinion, I understand why they don't want to work a 9-to-5 job. I feel like it's good to work a 9-to-5 job. It helps you to network, through your skills, and you can get promoted to a higher position in the company.
Got you. Yeah, good take. And then Reshmitha, did you want to go ahead and chime in as well?
Yeah, I would honestly just piggyback on what Joel said. The previous generations, they strive to work hard, while I think my generation tends to work smarter. They tend to do things as easy as they can and put their best in. And also while doing that, they want to have a personal life, right? They want to explore the world. They want to travel. They want to have good time with their friends. And they want to have the work-life balance, not just the social life, right? Like also their personal lives, where they're like prioritizing their mental health, getting some time for themselves, while the older generations didn't prioritize those as much as we do. But I feel like they pretty much wanted the same as what we do right now, but then they did not have the opportunity or the situation to do it.
Got you.
But we're normalizing it, so hopefully it is normalized at some point.
Got you. Yeah, I was going to say, so I guess we all have tailored or differing opinions, with myself being an older member of the Gen Z, so I'm 25, everybody, for you guys that don't know. And I see it as, I was brought up, and again, it's just my opinion, right? All of these are just opinions, but I was brought up to where if you want to achieve great things in life, you got to put in the work, you got to put in the time. So for me, I get it. You want to have that work-life balance, but at the same time, that's going to come at a cost. And you got to ask yourself, like, hey, what cost am I willing to pay, in order to lose out on some of those other things that I might be able to get if I put in more work? So I get it. As far as the American dream, it's going to require my generation to put in a little bit more work, right, compared to the older generations as far as how much work they had to put in to be able to afford a house and whatnot. Obviously, things are getting more expensive now, and then inflation and all that other stuff is just dragging things out. But honestly, you can't obtain that American dream, but you just got to put in more work. So you got to take your pick. For me, if I got to work overtime, I got to put in extra hours. I mean, I do that in my life right now anyway. Of course, it's for my own business, right? The family business, but I'm still going to do it regardless because I want to see great things. And in order for you to get great things, you got to put in great work or great effort.
I think that's where Reshmitha used the word normalization. I think that most of what we are taught is subjective, right? It's just specific on culture or ideology. I think what I hear you guys saying as I think about this article, all it's saying is that yesterday's dreams aren't today's dreams. That's okay. But it's okay for people to have different dreams. And this idea of American dream was never my dream, by the way. I never woke up every day thinking about that stuff. I was never motivated to go to work for that purpose. I was always motivated to go to work to build a legacy. And then that requires flexibility. That requires a different route, right? Trust me, you can't build a great business without putting in excessive amounts of hours. So the only thing I would say that makes me nervous about hearing someone speak like that is that in order for you to, specifically where we're headed, Gen Zers, if you guys are listening in the audience, AI is going to complicate things for you. AI is your competitor. And believe me, AI don't sleep. AI don't care about work-life balance. So it's just a different day for you guys. If you were competing against me, maybe you got an argument. Maybe you could say, I don't want to do what you're doing because you work hard, you don't get to spend time with your family, and that's probably the case. AI don't care. And I talked about 2 podcasts ago. I talked about, maybe it was 3 podcasts ago. I talked about a company not being in business to give people jobs. This is where W-2 has got to understand. When you are a W-2 person, you got to understand that somebody has built something for you to come occupy and earn. And they're paying you, it's like a barter. You're coming in, I'm going to give you X for Y. It's like a contract. So when somebody is paying you, they're not just doing that out of graciousness for their heart. They want something in return. That's not how it works. You don't get to decide that you're going to give me $50,000, but I'm going to work half the time. You don't get to decide that. Like, companies are not in business to give you a job. Companies are in business. Every company, simply like I said on this podcast, companies that are private companies, privately owned, or you got public companies in the stock market, right? They're owned by shareholders. Shareholders want a return on their investment. So companies' jobs are to increase shareholder value, absolutely. If you are a government agency, your job is to improve constituent services. That's how that works. So what you're gonna want is a workforce that helps you increase value. You don't want a lazy workforce. Now here's the flip side of all this, guys. If there's a belief in society by guys like me, the elder statesmen, that the younger people are lazy, we're gonna try to find a replacement. I'm not gonna argue with you. And here's the dilemma. AI. AI ain't saying it don't want to work. Now look, we can't talk about this article too much. I think we just go to the next article, and I think we can keep this conversation moving. But if there's anything I want to say to Gen Zers, you're not competing with me. You're competing against AI, and this AI is not visualizing a house. It don't want a car. It don't want to influence people. It don't want ease. It don't know what that is. It just knows that my code says X. Here's what I got to do repetitively, repeatedly. All right? So let's go to the next article.
Yep. So Reshmitha, let's go ahead and cover the article regarding the parents and generation jobless.
Yes. So the second article that we're going to discuss today, it's titled Parents Are Starting to Panic About Generation Jobless. So just like Mr. Williams was talking about, Gen Z and the job market isn't going very well, especially after the pandemic. So with a whole generation facing a lot of unemployment despite college degrees and whatnot, the parents just carry like long-term consequences for their children, like even beyond their education period. And they just worry about their psychological well-being, lower earnings, and even poorer physical health. And one of the very specific points that's mentioned in the article itself is all these sort of started up after the pandemic, when teenagers were just largely left to pick themselves up and get back to normal life after the pandemic restrictions ended. And I feel like that is one of the starting points where unemployment rate started increasing and the inflation started increasing as well. So that is one of the reasons to why parents worry about it, because the world today isn't the world they saw before the pandemic. And for teenagers during the pandemic who were just left to pick themselves up, they faced a lot of hardships essentially because they couldn't do anything during the pandemic. And that sort of gave them a shorter hand when it came to applying for jobs, entry-level jobs especially. So yes.
Let's see, Joel, you want to say something on that?
Based on the article, I feel like parents might be panicking more about Gen Z, like being unemployed without having a job. So the parents care about the traditional 9-to-5 job because that's the easiest way to make money. For a 9-to-5 job, you have to work 5 times a week. There's job security.
All right. Anybody else want to share thoughts regarding that article?
Yeah, so Reshmitha said that because of the pandemic, a lot of people left their resumes blank. But I feel like if you do have an obstacle, you should still try to take opportunities. I know some people during the pandemic, instead of staying at home watching TV, they started going on Google, looking at some skills that they can learn. Some of my friends, they started learning how to code or a different skill set. So I would definitely say that if you don't have a job, you shouldn't just complain about it. You shouldn't just stay in your parents' basement. You should definitely try to continuously learn. Let's say you graduated college, right? What are you going to do after that? Go to some networking events, go do a boot camp, an internship, all that type of stuff. People are always willing to help out people in college, so take those opportunities. There's always opportunities online, like even Datagen, take a course like that, learn about AI. Because if you don't learn about AI, like, yes, AI does take jobs from other people, but it also creates more jobs, right? So I would definitely say start learning about AI, start learning how to leverage that to get you a job too.
Perfect. Yep, Parth, you got it now.
Yeah. So I think going forward in the future, a lot more people are going to be jobless if they don't know how to leverage AI. So I think anyone who knows how to use AI in their day-to-day job is always going to have the edge over someone who doesn't. So I think these people who are going to be graduating college soon with a degree and they still can't find a job, if they somehow implement AI into their everyday work, it'll let them have an edge over their competitors.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like I always say this, I got a couple of things I say. If you're clueless, be curious. Okay? There's a lot of clueless people in our societies, but they don't want to turn rocks over. Everybody is looking for somebody to tell them what to do. This is what the problem is. I mean, I see this at all generations. Like people are just sitting back, waiting for somebody to call a play. It's akin to LeBron James being on the floor and he's looking at the coach, waiting for him to tell him what to do. Every play, right? Just imagine how stale that game would be if every player on the NBA court or a football game or a soccer team just waited for the coach to say everything. Do this, do that, right? That's most of us. So when I read these kind of articles, I see parents owning more responsibility here. Absolutely. This is not something I expect for a young kid to figure out. If I'm a parent, I'm looking at my kid's resume and it's blank. What can I do to fill that resume up? What kind of things can I be curious about? What kind of things can I do to help them fill this resume up? I talked a podcast or two ago about causes. Like we have all kinds of causes in America. You can go across the globe. You can be passionate about a lot of stuff. Picking up trash, soup kitchens. So there's a lot of ways you can take just your raw skill sets and fill up that resume. And then that to me becomes attractive to a potential employer. The irony here is we got the Gen lazy over here saying, oh, I don't want to put the work in, okay? And then we got the Gen, I guess, lazier over here just sitting in the bedrooms. So I don't know what to say. I'm glad you guys are on this call. All you guys are Gen Zers. My sons, this never going to be an option for them to be lazy. This idea that work-life balance, I don't know what that even means. So I just think parents own some of this. And if we have a generation of students that don't feel inspired to want to put the work in, that's parents' fault. Just me looking at other parents. That's the parents' fault. What do you guys think about that?
I just wanted to piggyback off what you just said about we have Gen lazy and then we have Gen lazier. So there was some data I had saw that said some 11% of all Gen Z are considered NEET. So NEET, which means not in employment, education, or training. So just sitting around basically and wasting their lives. 1 in 10.
Parents, I'm telling you, it's the parents' fault. It's the parents' fault. I'm not sure why that is. Like maybe the parents are getting up working so much, they forget they had kids at the house. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know what it is. But to me, that's the parents' fault. And I'm gonna let Sam go and then why don't you chime in, Reshmitha?
All right, so I do agree with what you said. The article actually states that they interviewed teachers, and the teacher said that there have been less students going to school now than there have been before, which shows that it is really somewhere in the household, whether the household is like bad, they have to work, help out with the chores and that stuff, or they just don't care about the education and there's no one at home.
That's what it is, man. I mean, Sam, I think you guys probably weren't around. We did our first podcast back in January, but I just talked about, I think somebody asked me a question about the role of a parent. And I think we were talking about helping students understand their genius. I talked about how a lot of us are curious as kids, and we just need somebody to steer that curiosity. And I talked about parents being a couple decades in front of us in most cases, having experience with themselves and being able to look at what they were able to do successfully and help their kids understand what they can probably do successfully, right? I talked about parents being on a perch. Okay? So picture somebody sitting up on a perch. Yeah, I never look at kids like you guys are down beneath me, but you guys are down in the trenches per se. The parents are the captain, and then you guys like the soldiers. You're in the trench. Okay? What happens with a lot of parents is just so much noise up top near the perch that they're not looking downstream and giving you guys the knowledge that you need to succeed with. Absolutely, man. I mean, the reason why you guys are on this podcast with me is because in my 20s, even with my sons, JJ and Jayden, we all have the same initials. But my strategy was implemented at birth. We have the same middle names. Jayden's name could have been Jeremy III if I had my way. But his mom didn't want to go that way. So his name is Jayden. We got the same middle names. Nothing about today is accidental. This was always the plan. See? So that's why I can say to you guys here on this podcast, the ambiguity for these guys doesn't exist. They've always just followed the playbook. Okay? So when I read those articles and I hear that these students are lost, and I've said this in prior podcasts, why I want to start this program up for Datagen Scholar. Okay? Because I know a lot of kids are lost. I talked about it to a mom yesterday. So her son wanted to go off to college. Okay, got into some good schools. Only problem though, is paying for him. See, so get into the school and then the money don't materialize to cover the cost. So what do? Do I go to that school and come out $140,000, $160,000 in debt with no guarantees of a job? Or do I consider going to the armed services where I know I'm going to get upskilled. I know my food's going to be covered. I know my clothes is going to be covered. My house is going to be covered. It's going to be some focus there. It's going to be some guidance given. There's going to be some plays called, right? So I won't be in the game waiting for the coach to call the play, but the coach is going to tell me what to do every day, right? So that game is more structured for me. And the kid decided to go to the services at the last minute. College starts in 2 weeks. Changed his mind at the last minute. Mom was teed off. Right? But to me, it made sense. So I just think Ultimately, Articles 1, lazy. Article 2, talking about lazier. Parents' fault. What you got, Reshmitha?
Just like you said, I feel like the parents' worry comes from the investment they put on their kids into the college education, or whatever they choose. And then at the end of the day, if they're not having a job and if they can't make a household for themselves, I think that's where the worry comes with the parents. But just like Parth mentioned before and Pranjali mentioned, my generation is ready to put in the work if they really want to survive on their own and stand on their feet. They're ready to get the skills that they want, apply for the job that they want, and do the job that they want. They would definitely work towards it, but it might not be the conventional way of how parents would expect it to be. But they would honestly look for a way where they can put their best in and also make a living for themselves, for sure.
Totally agree with that. Let's move along to that next article.
Now, for a quick commercial break to share some key program insights.
Every number tells a story, but only if you know how to read it. At Sandai Global, we transform data into direction for small businesses, nonprofits, and entertainment clients alike. Whether it's AI automation, strategic dashboards, or advanced analytics, our solutions redefine what's possible when people and data work together. Learn more at sandaiglobal.net.
Now back to the podcast.
Yeah. Sam, go ahead and discuss the Gen Z man with college degrees article.
So this article is basically talking about how the unemployment for men who go to college is basically the same as the unemployment rate for men who haven't gotten any college education at all. And some points that this article pointed out was the fact that when it comes to getting jobs, men aren't so flexible when they're given an opportunity. Unless it aligns with their personal goals and their personal interests, they're less likely to accept the job as much as women are. In addition to this, men are also going into fields like, I think it's called vocational skills, plumbing, HVAC, things like that. And those don't require college at all. You can go into trade school and people are getting jobs that way as well. So those are just some points that the article I pointed out.
So what's the name of that article?
Gen Z men with college degrees now have the same unemployment rate as non-grads, a sign that the higher education payoff is dead.
Now look, before you moving on, Junior, that's sad to me. Like, when you're going off to school, and part of that American dream back in the day, by the way, used to be you went to college, you getting a job. It was almost a guarantee that you're going to get a job. You probably didn't get that job in that sector or that field or industry that you wanted to go in. I've seen people get hired in better jobs because they went to an Ivy League school. So you can do philosophy, right? And Ivy Leaguers sometimes get hired by an investment bank. I've seen it. I've seen librarians get hired by investment banks. That's how they think. So those days, what could be a part of that, what we talked about that first article, that Gen lazy, not being able to envision that payoff. But what's sad, especially can be demoralizing for men, because men, we want to be providers, right? We see ourselves attempting to climb a mountain, reaching that pinnacle, and then being able to provide, right? We're told, go to college. You're going to be able to get this great job. And maybe your homeboy from down the road, who's not as studious as you, he goes off, he chooses to become a plumber or electrical worker. And you come back home in 3 years and he's over here killing it and you can't find work. But you're in the hole $100,000. So think about that like running track. All right, so let's say the starting gun goes off, boom, after college, gun goes off. You got 100K bricks holding you back from the sprint. So your life is altered drastically because of a false promise. And now we're hearing that it's equal. They're saying that college degrees, Gen Z men with college degrees now have the same unemployment rates.
So hop into that Give those data points, JJ.
So let's start off with the overall age range first, and then we'll dive into the young men. So this data is coming from the Federal Reserve, everybody. The date it was taken was towards the end of July, all right? But the unemployment rate for recent college graduates, since it's going to be ages 22 to 27, was at 5.5% at the time of this article being written. Now, the overall unemployment rate for all young workers, again, ages 22 through 27, is at 6.9%, all right? So it's only a 1.4% difference between the unemployment rate for recent college grads and the overall age group. If we dive into young men specifically, right, as far as the college-educated young man, it says 7% of college-educated young men are unemployed, whereas with women, it drops down to 4%. All right, so those are the relevant data points from this article.
So the women's rate is lower.
Yeah, and this goes back to what Sam was saying earlier. The reason why they're saying that is because women, they're a lot more susceptible to taking on jobs that they may be overqualified for.
Our men, not nurturers. We don't want to be teachers.
Yep.
We don't want to do healthcare.
Yeah.
That's what it is. We don't want to do those caring jobs. Remember I talked about that a couple podcasts ago. Those jobs are going to be available. I think, and this is for everybody on the call, by the way. Pranjali, all you guys, when we start talking about jobs of tomorrow, just picture this, right? It's abundance of us on this planet. 8 billion of us, right? If AI has its way, most of us are going to be obsolete. Some of us are still going to be relevant. There's going to be a phase out period. You get all these prognosticators on these airways talking about we're doomed and the computers are going to run everything in 10 years. That's probably not going to happen that fast. It's just too many of us, right? But a good segment of us are going to be obsolete very quickly. Now, these people are obsolete. You still have to do something with them, right? We're not going to just put them somewhere and nuke them, right? You got to do something with them. You got to put them somewhere or something. So I think the people care business is going to explode. I think about mental health. I talked last podcast about a redefining of what a job is. You guys aren't there yet, but your moms, your dads, your uncles, your cousins, your grandparents, these people all define their purpose based on what they do, what their job is. Their motivations are based on their job. That's how they define their existence, what they did from 9 to 5. So if you take that away from people, who are they? What's a person's reason for being? If I can't do X, Y, Z every day. There's just a movie called, this is an animation, you guys probably seen it, called Home. Rihanna is in it, her voice is in it. But it's about these aliens, they could call it the Boov. It's on Netflix. I love watching this thing. But the Boov, they take over the earth. Okay? And what they do with us is, they know we like ice cream, right? So they entice us with ice cream and they scoop all of us up. They move us all out to like Australia. They put all these houses out there and they put these little fun land stations. They put all this greasy food out there. I think that's what we like. That's how I envision some of this AI stuff. I see villages of obsolete people. So I think some of these jobs of tomorrow are going to be that people service business. And right till this day, we know we got an aging population, people are getting older. So we have an extreme need for people in healthcare. So think about stuff like that. When I see Gen Z women having less of an issue, it just says to me, they're picking those nurturing, they're caring majors. They're focusing on those industries that are people-centric. Whereas men, we tend to want to be more ambitious, right? Tech, computer science guys, I don't know. All right, just saying. So if you're going to do computer science, make sure you're doing, I think you said this part, AI, machine learning. You got to be specific. You can't just be generic about it. You got to be targeted. If not, plumbers, mechanics. I'm guessing we're going to keep having cars. I was talking to Sam before you guys got on about Uber. I don't think people need cars these days. You want to be a highly efficient society, but we'll probably keep owning cars. We're going to all have houses. We're gonna all have buildings to live in, plumbing, electrical workers. Those things aren't going anywhere. We're all getting sick. I think if we put a lot of people aside and we're obsolete, I love animations, by the way, so I hate to keep talking about another animation, but there's one called WALL-E on Disney. About a time when robots do everything for us and we're all pudgy and stuff, right? So I just think on the healthcare front, there's going to be a lot of opportunity there too.
I just wanted to comment on the article as well. As you said, people who have a degree, like a bachelor's degree, and people who just have a high school degree, or they just maybe haven't even completed high school, they have the same type of unemployment rates. But I actually have this image pulled up. So the annual median earning for workers aged 22 to 27 for the year 2024, the median for people who have a high school degree, theirs is around 36,000, while people who had a bachelor's degree has a median of 60,000, which is around double. So I would definitely say that if you don't want to go to college, if you can't afford it, then it's like totally fine to not go to college. I know that a lot of people need more people in trades because, like you said, more people mean more houses, which means more construction and also plumbing, electrical. That is a dire need for trades. But also, just because the employment rates are the same, that doesn't mean that you're never gonna get a job. Once you get a job, it'll be way more high paying, almost like double. And I would definitely say if you really want to go to college, but you can't afford it, go to community college. I know that there's a community college near me called Nova, and there's some colleges that are also online that are really low fees. Maybe get a part-time job, go to community college, and then transfer. I would definitely say if you want to get a higher profession job, if you want to become a nurse or if you want to become a cybersecurity analyst, whatever you want to do, don't give up on your dreams. Just find a way to work around it.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. All right, go ahead, Parth. Then we go Joel and Sam.
Yeah, so I wanted to touch on the point of nursing and nurturing being really big for women especially. I think a lot of these human connection jobs that require human-to-human contact will not be replaced by AI anytime soon. So for example, nursing, like you said, or even things like performances, movie productions even, you can't really replace that whole industry with just AI. So I think those jobs are always going to be there. But then if you're going to be ambitious and try to pursue computer science, let's say, I think it is really important to be specific about it and not general. Like you were saying, if you want to get a concentration in machine learning or maybe cybersecurity, I think that's definitely better than just going broadly into computer science and jumping into that.
Yes, sir. I mean, this stuff is just about being strategic. And what I like about what we're doing here with you guys as young people, it's about conversations. Like, it's no reason why, this is my belief again, why in this society, we don't have a better idea of where we need people. And I'm not saying we have to be so structured to say, there's another animation I like. It's called Ants. It's an old animation. In Ants, it's funny. So either you're going to be a worker or you're going to be a soldier. So when the ant is a larva, you put them in front of the queen, and then there's some guy that says, worker. They're the same size ants, by the way. Worker, soldier, right? So I think we're getting to a point where we have to be more specific. Just like that. Like, we need 200,000 nurses. We don't need any more music teachers. We don't need any more PE teachers. We have to be more specific as a society. I just think AI is going to help us a lot. But I think about efficiencies in terms of knowing where to go. I think as a student, at some point, you guys will be able to go to a computer and it'll tell you where the jobs are. About 2-3 years ago, we did a health workforce study to figure out where the jobs were in healthcare. It's across the whole United States we were looking at. But we looked at Virginia, I think it was 2 other states, North Carolina, and maybe Florida. We found about 40,000 open jobs on websites. More than half of these jobs didn't even require a college degree. They were high school diploma jobs. And so we said to ourselves, why can't we as a country figure out how to get those jobs in front of high school kids? So as kids can start getting some experience. I just think AI, it's what I want you guys to be thinking about, by the way. When I talk about being clueless and curious, be thinking about causes. Like, a cause could be to find a way to quickly identify jobs for kids by zip code, by the way. Something we were exploring 2-3 years ago for healthcare. But right now, there's no way for anybody to know. It's not out there. You can look for anybody to know what kind of jobs exist by zip code across America. We don't know. Last week, we talked in our podcast about the Bureau of Labor Statistics. The director of that agency was fired. President Trump fired her. He said she was finagling the numbers because she said we only added 75,000 jobs across the whole country, by the way, last month. And I said, how do we know that there weren't more jobs added? How do you know that? Nobody came to me, asked me who I hired. I didn't get a survey. So I was curious, how did they come up with 75,000? And I'm saying to you guys right now as youth, those are the kind of opportunities I want you guys to be thinking about. We know kids right now are having a hard time finding work. I'm telling you why that is. They're just going on Indeed. They're going on Career Build, whatever they're using now these days for these job boards. They're just applying for these jobs. They're in line with another 200 kids for every job. What I'm saying is there has to be a better way to do that, where everybody can know where the jobs are. And we should know that, right? We should know that answer, but we don't. So that's an example of somebody being the vanguard, figuring that out, producing some kind of an application where a student, a Gen Zer, can go into a computer and say, okay, oh, look, they need cow massagers over here in Iowa, and it's paying $29 an hour. Or they need mudslide rock removers over here in California, and that's paying $70 an hour. I don't know, but there has to be a way to produce that kind of mechanism to provide more clarity on where the jobs are and what those jobs look like. And then to further that would be then to have a forecast that can be anticipated. That way parents now know, okay, I want to put my kids on these trajectories, that we don't have kids just sitting in bedrooms with blank resumes. All right, Joel, Sam, you guys go ahead and we'll conclude this article. And I want to go to one more article and then we'll do some closing comments. Go ahead, Joel.
Okay. That's some statistics also. So like between 2011 and 2022, there was a decline between 1.2 million of young college students. So it was 1 million fewer men and about 200,000 fewer women students. So the younger generation right now, they're shifting towards a career in trades. College is not for everyone. It's hard. 4 years.
Absolutely, man. Look, so you guys are right here in DMV. For everybody outside areas, DC, Maryland, Virginia area. Muriel Bowser, the mayor of Washington, DC. We were a part of a collaborative where they were essentially inviting in skill build?
Yeah, skills build or skills bridge. Just one of the
Skill
two.
bridge, one of them. Their idea is that they want their youth, their high school age youth, to get a bunch of credentials. They're not even looking at college for most of those kids in DC. It's not a pathway for them. They're saying, and it's what we said to you guys when you guys joined Datagen Scholar. You should want to get credentials. Credentials are something you can attain in weeks. So get certificates. That's why we have those 2 certificates for you guys in this program. That's why we tell you guys to look at other certificates through Datagen, right? Because what a lot of employers are looking for are those quick skills, those needed skills to get the job done now. They're not looking for those quote unquote 4-year skills. And then a lot of stuff that you learn in college too is obsolete, by the way. I mean, I got a couple of technical degrees, and what I'm making money with today, I didn't do either one of my degrees. I might refer to some of the jargon every once in a while, right, when I talk, but everything I do today is essentially self-taught or self-read, self-study. All right, so what I would just say is credentials are the way to go. So you talk about trades, Joel, right there in Maryland. Well, Governor Westmore has a program where I think kids can actually skip high school for a year. I think it's a gap year program. They can take a year out of school and do a trade. I mean, we were in a program up there 2024, the spring. We had a kid come in and talk about him being a plumber or something, making like $90K. He was 20 years old, made like $90,000 that year. as a trade person right there in Baltimore. So we're going to talk about another article here in a second. I'm going to let Sam go, but this other article talks about something similar to what you just said, Joel. So let's go ahead and go, Sam. And then I want to transition to this next article. And I want to talk to you guys a little bit about who you are, and then we'll wrap up the podcast. All right, so go ahead, Sam.
It all ties back to the second article we went over about how parents will work, and about how the article I talked about how students already weren't going to school in high school. And if people aren't going to class in high school, it makes you think they're going to go to college. And once again, as you said, people are more interested in what you're able to do rather than you having a degree. So being able to go to trade school and having experience the second you got out of high school puts you at a head start. And the third article we read about how the unemployment rates with college graduate men and men who haven't gone to college is the same. It's also because they don't want to hire a man who's gone to college when they have no experience, because they're already thinking, oh, Gen Z is lazy. So that explains why more people, as you said, the American dream isn't as obtainable. People are worried that when they go to college, they don't get a job. So being able to get a job the second you got out of college makes it seem it's more feasible for people to imagine. So it makes sense.
Yes, sir. This evolution, man. Like some people say we evolved from monkeys. I'm not saying I believe that, but everything evolves. Everything evolves. The job market evolves. What it means to be an employee in a job market, it has to evolve. And I think the unfortunate truth is there are a lot of guys like me at the top that probably are resistant to what that evolution looks like. You guys are going to eventually be in the captain's chair. So I think you'll be more susceptible, more open to what this new evolution looks like for that employer. But yeah, you want to have future ready skills. And I talked our last podcast about everybody needing to learn daily. And I talked the last podcast about me. I got my first degree. I think I just worked for 5 years. I didn't get any other certificates. I got my second degree, right? I think I chilled like another 5 years before I got another certificate. Got that certificate. I chilled like 10 years. I didn't learn anything for 10 years. I mean, I probably read some books here and there. So I call that resting on your laurels. You're so confident in what you were taught in school, which really is obsolete, by the way. I tell you, like most of my classes, I don't use them. I'll probably pluck out of engineering school. I'm in engineering school right now. Come on, man. I don't remember that stuff. So I'm not using any of that stuff now. And then MBA finance, I'm not using that stuff, man. I'm not using it. So this is my point. We have to get skills daily. I just think this idea of going off 4 years, getting a degree, those days are done, man. They're done. Everybody has to learn daily. We got 3,000 Gen AI tools, right? You guys are doing some of this market research on this stuff for us. The guys who raise their hands, right? These tools change daily. ChatGPT changes daily. Daily. So you can't learn chat January 1 and look at chat December 31st, they're using the same tool. We have to use this stuff daily. Okay, so back to what you're saying, Sam, that's the evolution where we have to now look at ourselves as being continuous learners. We have to wake up every day looking to learn, looking to receive. I talk about getting downloads, right? And you get downloads when you're constantly looking at something, constantly studying something, right? At some point, your mind just starts to be creative around that something. And you get these downloads. That's learning to me.
Now, for a quick commercial break to share some key program insights.
At Datagen Scholar, we're redefining education for the next generation of thinkers. Students master data literacy and generative AI, build real projects, and earn while they learn. We're not waiting for the future of education. We're building it. Learn more at datagenscholar.com.
Now back to the podcast.
Let's go to this last article. And Jayden, I want you to cue this one up. This is the one on, it says, Gen Z has regrets. Let's talk about that one. And I want to talk to these kids a little bit about them, and we'll close this podcast up.
All right, perfect. So the full title to that article is going to be Gen Z has regrets. 1 in 4 say they wish they hadn't gone to college or would have picked a higher paying industry. So this article just talks about the sentiment of college is changing. The same thing we've been talking about with the other articles. It used to be seen as a one-way ticket to success, but no longer. The choice to get a college degree isn't really that alluring to many young people. So it went into 3 different surveys. The first was conducted by Resume Genius. It has 1,000 full-time Gen Z workers across the U.S. about their views on their college degrees that they had earned so far. And a large amount, 1 in 4, regret going to college or wish they had chosen a higher paying field in STEM, finance, or healthcare. Right? So then the second survey went in and it conducted a study between 2,000 adults aged between 18 and 30. And it showed that 62% of young adults said that they aren't in the career that they intended to pursue. And 25% said that they are actively struggling to find a job in their intended field. So that goes back to us just saying a lot of people are unemployed right now. They can't find work in the things that they wish they could, and that they're just out there looking for any opportunity. And then the last one, they conducted a survey on kids. So 3,000 middle school and high school age kids. It showed that 70% of those teens are saying that their parents are more supportive of them foregoing college education. They favor them choosing trade schools or apprenticeships or just taking those gap years to figure out themselves a little better.
Yeah, man, look, everybody here, guys, your parents love you. I mean, I know your parents. I know your parents love you guys. And no parent envisions their children. This is how I think about some of this college stuff. I would say any form of debt early in life. There's credit cards. There's a lot of kids go to school. They have to take out credit cards just to survive. So when they come out, they can't get jobs. Now they're back with their parents, right? What does that mean for their mental health? But just think about it like this. You're in the water. You're in the ocean, okay? And you got this big weight pulling you down. This weight is your college debt. You're trying to keep your head above water. And then every time you finally get your head above water, here comes a wave. Knock you up on the water. No parent wants to see their kid like that. And so I just envisioned this. Used to be a time when we thought about college, it was a little bit clearer than that. We still had the weight on us, but we had some kind of buoy up under our arms. My generation did. So I had something to kind of support me a little bit. I got a job. I still had the debt though, but I could see the future a little bit. I could see the horizon because I had this buoy up on me. You guys don't necessarily have that luxury because you can't get jobs. So if you take on this debt, you're just constantly getting pummeled. You can't really come up and look at the beach and see what's in front of you. That's how I'm thinking about you guys as youth. And I don't think no parent wants that. Parents who are really involved in, Reshmitha, you said this earlier about how hard you've seen your parents work. So I think they've worked to build something. They've probably put in the extra hours just to make certain that you could see that beach one day. Right? So I think a lot of parents are really in it for that perspective. They want to get to the beach too, but it's more important that the next generation get to that beach. And that's why I built this business up. My kids have testified that I don't have a lot of beach moments. I don't even take vacations. But I have a vision that future generations will be on that beach chilling. So I'm willing to make that sacrifice. And your parents have done the same thing for you guys. So I want to transition from now. I think we've talked about this desperate situation we're in as a nation. I'm certain it's the same thing globally. But we do have a considerable opportunity for us all with AI coming. Now, I want to go over to these questions. We sent you guys 10 questions. Okay, I'm going to let JJ and Jayden tee this stuff off, but I just want to get to know you guys a little bit better. I want you guys to talk to our audience a little bit. Let them know who you are. You guys are really our first Datagen Scholars do this to come in this capacity. We had Sam on about 2 podcasts ago, but it's really more so from an entrepreneurial lens. So let's just talk about who you are, where you see tomorrow. Like, you know, sometimes you go into job interviews, they'll ask you, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Where do you see yourself in 10 years? Where do you see yourself in 15 years? So I want you guys to think just like that when you're responding to some of these questions. I want to know what's in your head. Where do you see things playing out for you in terms of your decision, your course you want to take in life, short term with college? I think most of you guys are trying to go to college. So let's talk about that a little bit. Let's talk about what you see yourself doing beyond college. Okay, I want to really touch on that a little bit too. All right, so let's go with some of these questions.
Okay. Pranjali, tell us, so what motivated you personally to join the Datagen Scholar program?
So I joined the Datagen Scholar program because I'm really interested in cybersecurity and all that configuring type of stuff. But I wanted to also learn more about like data and AI. So once I heard about this program, I was like, I need to join it because right now I'm working on my AI and data literacy certification. So I really like how Datagen helps you get your certifications because that's not just gonna help me right now. It's probably gonna be helping me for the rest of my life. If I apply to a job, they're like, oh, what skills do you have? Oh, I have AI and data literacy skills. That's gonna be helping me out for the long run. And honestly, I joined to become the chapter president. So just working with other students also is just like really fun to me. I like having community and I just thought it was like a really good program.
So 5 years out. So you got your degree in cyber, I'm guessing. What are you doing?
Yeah, so 5 years from now, so right now I'm a rising senior, right? So I am going to be applying to undergraduate. So after 4 years of undergraduate college, I'm probably going to be doing like a master's as well. But if I don't do that, I'm probably going to be working as a cybersecurity consultant or some type of cyber workplace. So like either going more on the business side of it or maybe more like the policy side. So I'm still trying to figure that out. Right now, I also do volunteer for like Unified Sport. So I am really passionate about helping special needs students. So I would probably also like work alongside a nonprofit that helps special needs students also get into the tech industry. I might even start one. I don't really know yet, but yeah.
Love it. Thanks for that commentary. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hey, Joe, did you want to go ahead and add something?
I signed up because I was very interested in data and AI, so that's why I signed up for the program. But then now, since I'm part of Datagen Scholars and one of the presidents, we decided to work with other people from all over Virginia and outside of Virginia also to learn about the importance of use of AI and try to recruit more students from the DMV area to the Datagen Scholars program.
All right, and where do you see yourself, Joe, 5-10 years out? What are you going to be doing?
5 or 10 years from now, I think I'll probably be graduating with my bachelor's degree and probably going towards my master's. But if not master's, then I'll probably be working as a business analyst or a tech analyst maybe. But also not only that, I don't want to do only that. I want to learn a high income skill online outside of working a 9-to-5 job to help me learn to provide my income just in case something happens towards my job.
Got you. And one more thing too, Joe, I know you did tell us this, or you told me at least, I know you wanted to attend Wharton Business School, right? So for anybody that doesn't know what it is, very prestigious. They have notable alumni all over the nation. You still want to go there, Joe?
It's a good choice, yeah. Top choice.
Got you.
Donald Trump's a graduate award.
Yep. All right. Jayden, did you want to go ahead and throw out the next question?
No, I think we should go around and just ask everybody that same question. What inspired you guys to join the program, honestly? So, Reshmitha, you want to go next? And we can go to Parth and we can do Sam.
Yeah, I would love to go. I think one of the things that inspired me to join the program is I haven't got any technical exposure, right? You get to work on micro jobs, auditing and all that stuff. That sort of gives you work experience. And that is definitely a field that I would go in, right? It's related to technology and it's related to using different skills. And I feel like that is one of the things that inspired me to join the program, to get hands-on experience of working in actual micro job.
What are you going to be doing 5-10 years out?
Just like everyone else mentioned, I would be done with my undergrad and I would probably be working towards my master's. And again, if not master's, if I'm working on my master's part-time, I would definitely be in a job that I can actually put my strengths into and contribute towards a change in society and to the company itself that I'm working in. So yes, that is what I see myself.
Excellent. All right, Parth, you got it?
Yeah, so what motivated me to join Datagen Scholars was like since the beginning of high school, I've always wanted to go into computer science in college and have a career in that field. But then once ChatGPT came out, I think it was the middle of my freshman year of high school. That's when I realized like how big machine learning is going to be and AI. And then that's when I started taking courses online. And then once I found out about this program through my school, I just knew I had to sign up because, of course, I just wanted to learn more about AI and its impact on the world. So that's kind of what motivated me to join.
Definitely. And same for you, Parth, where you see yourself in the next 5 years.
in the next 5 years, I'll probably be going towards my master's in computer science after undergrad. Yeah, I'm definitely wanting to pursue that.
Got you. And then you got any specific schools lined up for that, or you just still taking it one day at a time?
Still like one day at a time.
Got you. All right, Sam.
So the reason why I had joined this program was because I was already taking a class to learn how to code in JavaScript because I like being intentional for my summers, and it was just another thing to do. So that's why I had joined. And it's been really nice. I was really interested in the certifications that we have access to because usually we have to pay for certifications and they're usually like really long. So having access to it was something that really got me interested in the program.
100%. And where do you see yourself in the next 5 years, Sam?
In the next 5 years, I could see myself on military base, working for the Air Force. Because I said earlier in the podcast, I see myself working in like aerospace. So that's always been something that interests me.
Got you. All right. And how do you guys see AI impacting the world going forward? So, of course, Joe, you can go ahead and go. Then Pranjali, we'll jump over to you.
I see that AI will probably like help expand towards the environment, not just in the U.S., probably like in other countries. Because I use AI throughout the past 2 years as like increasing. It's caused like a lot of layoffs also, and plus a lot of people using it to help them like with their schoolwork.
Perfect. Pranjali?
Hi. So I actually really love this question. Some people think that AI is just going to take their job, but what if AI can also solve cancer, right? So I definitely think AI is a positive thing for the world, and like it can just lead to so many new discoveries. So I will definitely say that AI will help us learn about new things, but also I would compare AI to like a calculator, right? Before calculators were invented, people used to do math by hand or like some other mathematical technique. But once calculators came, we started having different inventions and like computers were made. And once computers were made, like everything started changing. So now we have AI, and some people are scared of it. But honestly, I just think that we should use it as a tool and then like leverage upon that. So I would just say after we get AI, we're just going to find new discoveries. The only negative side effect about AI is that it takes up a lot of energy, right? So how AI is used is that it's not like the cloud, right? So the cloud, it's like the internet, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But AI, you have to have data for AI. So they use a lot of data, and then the data centers, they get hot. So that takes up a lot of water or like cooling resources. So I've talked to some professionals and they're all like, AI is going to need a lot of energy. So I could definitely see AI affecting the energy industry, and it's probably going to change how like energy is going to be used. We're probably going to be moving more onto wind and possibly even nuclear energy. So, yeah.
Yep. And hopefully AI can help us to find another renewable energy source, right? So that's the hope.
Exactly, yeah.
Yep. Definitely. Great. All right, Sam, yep, you got it?
So I think things will become more convenient the more AI is implemented. One thing about AI is it's very accessible. You know, if you have a phone, laptop, computer, you have access to AI. So it's going to be something that's going to be very integrated. It's already integrated into our communities, into our day-to-day lives. One thing is AI has always been around. You know, Google, Siri, it's always been there, but it's becoming more of a serious thing. As time passes, it's going to become even more serious. And even people who don't use it now will be forced to use it because our world is going to be centered around AI.
Well said, 100%. All right, Reshmitha, Parth, you guys want to go ahead and chime in?
Yeah, I will honestly say that our world's always going to be changing, right? And I think AI is the biggest change that we've seen probably after computers. So it's definitely coming. There's no denying that fact. It's definitely going to be a very major resource in our lives. And I think getting to use AI in the right ways to make the right decisions with AI, I think that would be where the world would be moving towards, making ethical decisions with AI and using it for the right purposes to serve better for our society and for our needs and purposes. I think that is what AI would do in this world, and definitely cut down most of the time-consuming tasks that we do manually. AI would make it time efficient But yes, just like Pranjali mentioned, the AI does take a lot of energy. So we would definitely need to make better choices with that. So yes.
Yep. All right, Parth, you got it.
Yeah, so I think AI is pretty much going to transform almost every single industry in the world. For example, education, it's probably going to become more personalized because AI, I think, has the ability to tailor to specific needs for each student. Or in healthcare, it's going to be able to enable faster diagnosis or drug discoveries and more accessible care, especially in areas that are under-resourced. And it's going to be revolutionizing so many things. But then we also need to take into account ethical challenges like bias, misinformation, or job displacement. And I think that's going to require a lot of careful governance. So like ultimately AI's impact, it'll depend not just on what it can do, but also like on how responsibly we're going to use it. And I think like governments now are starting to kind of realize that and are starting to make plans for how AI should be used on the national scale.
Now, for a quick commercial break to share some key program insights.
You've got grades, you've got ambition, but now you need experience that counts. The Datagen Scholar Next Step Scholars program delivers real-world data and AI assignments, tiered tracks, and visible proof of your skills. This is how you move from learning to earning. Explore your path now at datagenscholar.com/next-step-scholar-program.
Now back to the podcast.
All right, excellent. So look, we really enjoyed this conversation. We probably need to exit the stage here. We could probably talk for days, but what we'll do is have a round 2, round 3. You know, our goal is to have 1,000, 2,000 podcasts. Potentially, we get to 1,000, you guys will probably be in the workforce. You'll probably be in your master's degree programs. Probably be running nonprofits. Time we get to 2,000. So we want to have you guys back in those capacities. I think we can then look back on this day and have another conversation. Of course, we're going to have conversations throughout the year that we're facing now, but that's how I really see us taking this moment to, again, communicate some great ideas, great thoughts, and visualizations that we have in mind, and to see how that plays out. That's what I like about doing these kind of podcasts and these kind of episodes, because you get to put on wax your thoughts. But what I want to do is go ahead and close out. Someone, let Jayden, you guys got anything you want to say before we exit the stage?
I have nothing to say on my end. Great podcast.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. Great podcast, great talk. I enjoy having you guys on, and I'm excited for the next episode.
You guys got anything else you wanted to say before we exit? This is anybody.
Thank you so much for your time. I absolutely love this conversation and all these insights into the AI world.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Parth. Reshmitha.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you for having me on this podcast.
Okay. Reshmitha.
Yes, team. Thank you so much for having us on the podcast and also giving us the opportunity for the Datagen Scholars program. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to have you guys back, man. I just think AI is going to change monthly. All right, so we might be back here in 6 months talking about something totally different. For all our listeners, the conversation that you had here today was brought to you basically from about 5 of our students. And these students, they're all officers in our Datagen Scholar program. And again, Datagen Scholars is a learn and earn program where students learn about data analytics and generative AI, amongst other things, including AI ethics. We got career readiness in there, and then we have this micro job opportunity. This program is evolving. Everything that we do at Sandai is an evolution. We don't necessarily put anything in stone. These students that you heard from here today are going to be integral in us helping to really shape this program to be something that we offer globally. Right now, we have about 75 students enrolled in the program. Students here today represent 5 of our 29 officers, and we have ambitions to grow this program to 1,000, 2,000 students, again, across the globe. Okay, we're in the process of navigating that, and as you can hear from these guys today, we have the right people at the helm. Not only are they our officers, but they are also thought leaders for us. We're able to exhibit here today just how we at Sandai actually grow from talking to these students, because they have a lot to say. If you want to learn more about the Datagen Scholar program, We invite you to visit our website at datagenscholar.com. What we would say for the audience as we conclude is we've talked in several podcasts, okay? We just think that we're in a new era. Those of us that are in the know, we have the responsibility to do what we can to ensure that those of us who are outside of that knowledge that we have, that they are better informed, that we continue to inform them, that we help people understand the need to continue to learn, continue to acquire knowledge, to face AI not with fear, to face it with optimism, face it with the idea that in the best case scenario, we all could be superheroes to a degree in terms of intellectual capacities. If we're leveraging these tools to find solutions to different problems that we have to make our society a better place.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Data, Dollars, and Dynasty. The views and opinions expressed in this episode are those of the individual speakers and do not reflect the views and opinions of Sandai Global or Sandai Cares. Visit us on our website at datadollarsdynasty.com to learn more about our companies and our priorities. Also, follow us on social media at Data Dollars Dynasty. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Thanks again for tuning in. We look forward to catching you on the next episode.